I know the famous question of a lot of commentaries. They ask, why do we celebrate 8 days of Chanukkah? And why do we have eight nights of Chanukkah if the miracle was only 7 days?
But before I'm going to give you some of the answers, let us first recite chapter 100 in Tehillim to thank God for the miracles of Chanukkah and the miracles of having such a wonderful Einiklach, and obviously the miracle in Eretz Yisrael that we see daily miracles, but we pray to see already the ultimate miracle, the miracle of lighting the menorah in the Beis HaMikdash. So, Mizmar l'soido, Riel Adonai kol ha'ativ des Adonai b'simcha boi lefano b'nono, de'uk Adonai u'elim hu asanu v'lo anachna amo b'tzom arisoi, boi yishor b'soido chatzoroisa b'silo hoida levachu shemo ki tov Adonai le'olam chazdoi v'yador v'dor emunah soi. By the way, today the fifth candle is custom to give Chanukah geld to the children. I spoke in the beginning of Chanukah. The reason for that is for them to give tzedakah. So here, Simon is going to give the tzedakah of the Chanukah geld, part of it that he received. So back to the question. What's the story? They finished the battle. They came back to the temple. The temple needed to be completely cleaned, physically and spiritually, because the Greeks had brought in all kinds of idols. In addition, the Pashat made a simple, total mess. So they defiled it spiritually and they dirtied it physically. So they cleaned up the place. And now they need to go light the daily candelabra, the menorah. For this, we need pure oil. Now, pure oil doesn't mean that it's 100% olive virgin oil, but it means it's oil which is actually completely pure, 100% pure, but at the same time it also has the seal of the high priest, to make sure that it is done, that it's prepared by people who they were pure. And unfortunately they couldn't find any. Usually the full storage. There was Lishkas Hashem, and it was actually a storage room of keeping those oils. And they couldn't find any. Till miraculously they found one jug of oil. Now this jug of oil would normally last just for 1 day of lighting. It would take another 7 days to prepare a new batch of fresh, pure oil. So what happened? The miracle is that the little bit of oil which normally would have lasted 1 day ended up lasting 8 days, so as to give for the time to prepare new oil. But friends, the first day was not a miracle. They had oil for the first day. So why do we celebrate 8 days of Chanukah and not 7 days? Now I understand we want to have more donuts, we want to have more latkes, but that's got to be a more meaningful reason. It's interesting, there are different commentators, books written on it. There's one sefer that has 100 answers on this question. Another sefer has 500 answers on this question. Now, that's quite impressive. We can understand. It's 2,000 years that we discussed this issue. So over the years, obviously, everybody came up with the other answer. But let me give you the classic ones. There's 3 basic classic ones that Rabbi Yosef Karo says in Shulchan Aruch. One of them was, when they saw they only have a little bit of oil, and they knew they're going to need it for 8 days, they decided to put in just 1/8 of that oil that usually would not burn a whole day. It would only last for a few hours at most. Miraculously, this little bit of oil burned the whole day, and this repeated itself 8 times. Thus, 8 days of Chanukah. Another answer he gives, there's no point putting in an 8, because suppose the mitzvah is for it to burn a full day. So to put in just a little bit, that wouldn't be enough. And therefore, they filled the whole menorah with the full oil. They used it up completely. But then they noticed miraculously that the jug from which they poured still had the oil in there. So this was the first they already saw how the flask of oil didn't empty. Another reason he gives, that again the same thing, that they poured in the whole oil and the flask was emptied, but the next day they saw that the cup holding the oil stayed full. Although it burned, yet it stayed full. So either way, there was actually a miracle for 8 days. A point here is, whatever they did, the miracle was that they knew, I have a little bit of oil, I got to do the mitzvah. And not become desperate, I don't have enough oil, it's never going to happen. It happened because of the effort of the Maccabees, of the Chashmonaim. Good Yom Tov.